Hello, everybody. Welcome to Cryptids and Critters Paranormal. I'm your host, the Dooster. I've got a little short story I want to share with you, a little ghost story, as a matter of fact. Um, when I was doing my research for my book, Ghostly Whispers, I interviewed a lot of people, a lot of family members, and this one was one that my father-in-law, Johnny Wood, rest in peace, related to me, and this happened during when he was a child living outside of Springfield, between Springfield and Greenbrier, in a little community called Kemper Hill. And this is a story related to me, and I want to share it with you today. And I call this one Kemper Hill. Kemper Hill is located on Old Distillery Road, immediately after turning off Highway 76 East, and it's situated between Savage Creek and Sulphur Fork Creek. Years ago, situated near the top of this hill, there was a large weatherboarded house and had several outbuildings around it, and it was known locally as the Old Phillips Place. The farm consisted of about 360 acres, with the majority of it being rich, fertile bottomland. So my father-in-law, Johnny Wood, lived in this farm as a child, where him and his father, Ray, and his uncle, Lewis, they sharecropped the farm. They lived in a little small tenant house not too far from the main house. Excuse me. The large house at the time was inhabited by two old women. One day, one of the old women died, and as was the practice back then, she was laid corpse in the house for family and friends to visit and pay their last respects to. It was cold that day, and there was a heavy layer of snow blanketed the ground. There were several children present, including Johnny, and to get them out of the way and to keep them quiet, they were ushered into the living room containing a large fireplace. Blankets and quilts were spread out on the floor for them to sit or sleep on. Sandwiches were prepared and given to them to eat. The presence of a visitor was heralded by the stomping of their feet on the front porch to knock the snow off their shoes. Overshoes, if worn, were removed and left on the porch. Several people came to view the body, visit with the family, eat a bite, and pay their respects. There was plenty of food set up in the dining room, prepared by the women in the neighborhood. Bored with nothing to do, the children watched the intermittent stream of visitors as they came and went. Shortly after midnight, an unknown man and woman were seen standing at the coffin. No one had let them in, and no one had seen them come in, but they were there. They stood silently as they gazed upon the body of the deceased woman. Then, as suddenly as they had appeared, they disappeared right before their eyes. A couple of hours later, around 2:30, the children were startled by the sound of heavy boot stomping on the back porch. As they looked toward the back door, it opened, and an old man they had not seen before walked through. He silently and deliberately made his way to the fireplace and stood there warming his hands as the children watched. Suddenly, a scream emanated from the kitchen, and one of the women apparently recognized this mysterious visitor. The man vanished before their very eyes. The woman was laid to rest in the Bethlehem Cemetery the following day, with a large crowd in attendance, despite the inclement weather. When the family returned home from the burial, it was discovered that some of the deceased woman's valuable china and silverware were missing from the house. A search of the house turned up nothing, and it was decided that someone had entered the house while the family was gone and had taken them. They accepted the fact that they would probably never see them again. At 7:30 the next morning, 3 bright fireballs were seen shooting up from a spring near the creek, followed by another identical display 30 minutes later, and yet another one at exactly 11 o'clock that day. When they ventured down to the spring to investigate the source of the fireballs, they discovered the woman's valuables, hidden where the thief had stashed them until he could return later to get them. And this was a true story related by my father-in-law. I just wanted to share that little story with you. Once again, I'm the Deuster with Cryptids and Critters Paranormal, and I want you to subscribe to my page, and we will catch you next time with some more interesting stories.